Today's lesson is on Chapter 6, Section 7, Graphing Absolute Value Equations. So first let's look at our starting point. This is our graph of y equals the absolute value of x. You proved today in class that this is what this graph would look like, and just to show you again, here's your ordered pairs. If you plug in -2 for x, the absolute value of -2 would be 2. The absolute value of -1 would be 1. You can figure out the rest of those. So then if we graph it, -2, 2 would be here, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2. Okay, so that would make that graph. Every graph that we create today is just going to be a translation of this graph, meaning it'll move up, down, left, or right, but it'll look exactly like this. All right, so let's look at the first example. Y equals the absolute value of x plus 2. Notice with this graph, since we have a plus 2, we moved up 2 points along the y-axis. Our starting point was here at the 0, 0, and we moved up 1, 2. It's the same exact graph, it's just a translation of that original 1. So when the x is alone in the absolute value symbol, you're going to move vertically. And since this is a positive 2, we will move up 2. Now what I always tell everyone is that if you forget this, if you can't remember if it should be moving up, down, left, or right, then just make a table of values. So here I chose -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2 again, and I plug them in and calculated. So -2, the absolute value of that is 2, plus 2 would be 4. The absolute value of -1 is 1, plus 2 is 3, and then you can calculate the rest. And then you would just graph that: -2, 4, -1, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4, and you would get the correct graph. Okay, but again, if you're more comfortable with the shortcuts, here's the graph of y equals the absolute value of x minus 3. Notice again, the x is the only thing within the absolute value symbol, so we're moving vertically. Since this is minus 3, we went down 1, 2, 3, and that's where this graph started. If you forget it though, or if you want to just double check, you can plug in some points here. -2, the absolute value of that is 2, minus 3 is -1, and keep going with your points and check that you got that correct. What I want to emphasize here is when the x is the only thing in the absolute value symbols, whatever this next part is, plus 7, that means you're going up 7. If it's minus 10, you're going down 10. Okay, it's vertical, and it's exactly what this says. Because with the next set of graphs, we are going to be moving horizontally. So take a look at this one. Y equals the absolute value of the quantity of x plus 2. Okay, so now that the entire sentence here is within the absolute value symbol, we know that we'll be moving left or right. This is a little backwards though. This is a plus sign, but that means that you actually move to the left. And since this is 2, we move to the left 1, 2 spaces, start our graph there, and just make it look like all the rest. And here's the ordered pairs to prove it. Notice though, if I just made these ordered pairs -2, 0, -1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, it could appear to me that this would actually be a linear equation. So you want to make sure that you extend your points. So notice in this next chart, it's the same chart, but I added the -4 and the -3 to make sure that I realize that this should make a V. So -4, 2 and -3, 1 will guarantee that I get the right picture here. Okay, one more now with a minus in this position. So let's take a look. Y equals the absolute value of the quantity of x minus 3. The whole thing is in the absolute value symbol. And since it's a minus, I'm actually moving to the right. And since it's 3, I'm moving to the right 3 spaces and making the graph. Again, notice with this set, it could appear that it's a straight line. So -2, 5, -1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 2, and 2, 1 is a little bit deceiving. So I need to extend my ordered pairs to include 3, 0, and 4, 1 to notice that it is a V shape. Okay, so again, when the whole thing is within the absolute value symbol, you're moving horizontally. If it's a plus 10 or whatever it is, you'll move to the left 10. And if it's, let's say, -7, you'll move to the right 7. Okay, and again, if you ever forget, just plug in your ordered pairs, your x values to get your y values, graph it, and then that'll ensure that you have the right graph. Okay, that's all for today. Bye, guys.